activation. Amen. Yes. Last year we received a very wonderful teaching from Mama. Really blessed us. The activation power of meditation. And it is for the first time there is something you Pastor Grace that really blessed my heart. That Jesus was a man that was given to meditation. Because we've been reading the scriptures, but we have not been deciphering the simple emphasis behind them. Because if that scripture is read, you think that meditation was not mentioned. But the way it was put forth by the woman of God, it was so profound. God bless you so much. God bless you. God bless you. Amen. Now, today I want us to have a very brief discussion of still in the school of activation. But I want to talk about how to activate your spiritual ear. How to activate your spiritual ear. How to activate your spiritual ear. Someone may ask, hey, Pastor, do we have spiritual ears? Yes, we do. We really do. Because some of us here are living in last year. But yet we stepped into a new year. But you are still living in last year. All right? So I'll be sharing with you, we'll be having this discussion. Sharing the word of God. And I know that we are going to be blessed. If you believe it, say aloud, amen. Now, there are principles that God has put in place that if you practice them, you will be immune to the disasters that are coming. Or to the disaster that is to come. Please understand that God has vested part of his power on principles. So you cannot just say, I'm spiritual, without regarding the application of certain principles of life. If you do that, you are likely to have or live a defeated life. So these are the principles. When you apply, these principles work for your advantage. It is our practice of these principles that make you and me a principality. And therefore you experience a victorious life. Anytime you practice or you put into application, you apply the principles of God, what happens? You end up being a principality because God has invested part of his power on principles. Are we together? Praise be to Jesus. Are we together? Are we together? Just wave to me. Wave at me if I... So principles are this. They are constants. They cannot be bent. They are so efficacious or powerful. They give powerful results. They have stood the test of time. It is the ignorance of these principles that many have lived a defeated life. Now, the activation of your spiritual ear is covenant-based. Covenant-based. Please say with me, covenant-based. Your spiritual ear activation responds to a certain covenant-based principle, which I want to talk about. I know we have teachers in our midst. And also we have parents. We have what we call an academic year. How many know an academic year? When does an academic year begin? January, right? Okay. For those that are in financial institutions, we have what we call a financial year. When does it begin? June. June or July? Government, let's use the government. When does it begin? July. So, July is the beginning of their what? Financial year. It's the same way we have what? A spiritual year. It's the same way. Are we together? So, why is it called a spiritual year? Everything is created twice. Before you see the physical manifestation, there is an official realm that is first existent, or that first existed. And that realm is what we call the spiritual realm. If you look at Genesis chapter 1, Genesis chapter 2, those that have heard me say this. Genesis chapter 1 is creation that took place, part 1. Genesis chapter 2 is part 2 of creation. Same way, if you want to build a house, you build it twice. You build it on the plan first, then you take it where? To the actual ground. Are we together? Now, in Genesis chapter 1, what you saw was a plan. Genesis chapter 2, what you saw there, what you see there, is the manifestation. Chapter 1 is the architecture. Chapter 2 is the real building. Are we together? Don't forget that. So we have things, everything you see is created twice. So this is why you can dream and have visions of 2024. And yet we are in 2023. The question is this: how did you manage to go into 2024? Because you stepped into the Spirit and you saw. So it means that the fact that you are in 2023 and you saw the vision of 2024, it means that 2024, what you saw was a spiritual year. Are we together? Yes. There are people here that have received dreams of 2030. So that should tell you that there is a spiritual year called 2030. We are not waiting to get there yet. But because you've received an intelligence, an insight, that should tell you that this thing is existing. Because the most official realm is the spiritual realm. It is the mother of the physical. Remember you had, some even have dreamt, wakiwa 1983. Some even have dreamt back in the 16th century. There's a vision Pastor Grace had some years back. Mama, you remember? Let me remind you. There's a vision she had. She was taken, I think it was 13th century back. So God was trying to educate her on why a certain matter is the way it is. And that matter pertained to, it pertained to church, right? Oh, I can remind you. How many know these movies, the epic movies, where there are horses and all that? How many know that? No, that was the mode of transport in those early centuries. You had a vision and you were taken back. And there was that experience you saw. God was educating you on how a certain matter is concerning the church. You remember? Now, she was in let's say, for example, 2023. But how comes she managed to travel all the way to 13th century, 16th century, 12th century? It means that as much as we have a physical ear, we have a spiritual ear. So that is what I want us to check, to investigate. All of us know that in the Bible, we had prophets that saw the day of redemption. And yet they were in those days. How comes they saw the day of redemption? And yet it was 2,000 years before Jesus came. People like Isaiah, they prophesied as if it will be tomorrow. But we saw redemption coming or taking place after so many years. But in that vision, they saw it as if it is happening now. Because in the realm of the Spirit, we don't have time. It's not time-based. Are we together? So, you have 2023. That is physical. In your calendar. We have also a spiritual 2023. That is why you can dream in 2023. You are basking in a lake of notes. Clean, fresh notes of 1,000s in that room. You are just sleeping on them. But when you woke up, you found yourself in Kayole. Are we together? Yes. I want you to understand this. I want you to get this. Now, this is why you can dream. And these are dreams that have past ages. Oh, they are forwarded. They have been forwarded many years to come. But still see. People like Smith Wigglesworth, they saw the revival of the last day. They saw it. But yet they were in the 1940s, 19 whatever. All right? So, let's look at a good example, because I feel like someone is still doubting. Let's go to John chapter 8, verse 56. John 8, verse 56. John 8, verse 56. All of us know Abraham is a patriarch. But he was a prophet. He was a prophet. Now, take it to verse 55. Let's see together. Look. But you don't even know, I know him. If I say it otherwise, okay, verse 54. Yes, that will really bless us. Jesus answered, if I want glory for myself, it doesn't count. But it is my Father who will glorify me, you say. He is our God. Verse 54. But you don't even know him. I know him. If I said otherwise, I would be as a great a liar as you. We are reading from New Living Translation. But I do know him and obey him. Verse 56. Listen to this. Your father Abraham rejoiced as he looked forward to my coming. He saw it and was glad. Look at that. When did he see it? And yet he had no idea about what was going to. He had no idea about the redemption plan. He had no idea, but he saw it. Now what he saw happened 2,000 years later. So it is possible for you to see something now that is not necessarily a part of this year. Are we together? So we have a spiritual year. Now we want to, how do you activate? Because when giwenyu, bado mko 208. So all of us have witnessed the release of this prophetic direction from the prophets or spiritual men, even before we stepped into 2023. You remember? We had so many prophets that were prophesied about 2023 last year. There's going to be this, there's going to be that. How did they see it? It is true. Some of these prophecies have already begun to take place. It is true. So it means that we have a spiritual here. Are we together? Are we together? All right, let me shoot another scripture. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, from verse 1 to 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, from verse 1 to 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 3, from verse 1 to 3. I need to touch about this matter about spirituality. Do you know that it's only spiritual men that have knowledge and understanding of the spiritual things that have ended up having advantage compared to an average believer? Look at what Paul is saying here. And now, brethren, could not speak. And I, brethren, I could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal. Give us New Living Translation. It will help us. Good. Good. Dear brothers and sisters, let's read together. I was with you. I could not talk to you as I would to spiritual what? People. Why? I had to talk to you as though you belong to this world, or as though you were infants in the Christian life. You are still people that did not have knowledge about the spiritual. So I could not bring spiritual things to you because you could not understand. Now, verse 2. Verse 2. I had to feed you with milk. Look at that. Not with solid food, because you weren't ready for anything stronger, and you are still not ready. You are still not ready. Because a man that is spiritual and has the knowledge and understanding of the spiritual is a man that will command mastery. Is a man that will always be in command. Now, a believer that is born again is not a spiritual man. Can I preach? Can I teach? Can I teach? Yes. A witch doctor is a spiritual man. You know why? Because your spirituality is determined by your level of consecration to your deity. To what degree have you separated yourself to that being that you are worshiping? That will determine the level of your spirituality. So a spiritual person is a man that has understood that his redemption was not just for him to bask in the light. No. That God also has an interest of his participation in kingdom matters. So he has set himself apart. Are we together? Amejitenga kwa sababu ni ya ufalme. Amejua mwili huu si wangu. Ni wa Mungu. Na nitafanya kile nini? Ameniambia. That man is a spiritual man. A believer that is average and carnal. When anasema, I gave my life to Jesus, pastor. Now the old is gone. New. We are good. And the witch doctor that has 100% submitted himself to darkness, atakufinya. Mwambie jirani yako chunga usifinywe. Mwambie chunga usifinywe. Chunga usifinywe. Now, in your offices where you work, we have people that understand the mystery of spirituality. And that is why you qualified for that job. You're really qualified. But you see, that was the moment that you should engage so perpetually. But you know what you did? You said, I think I have all the dissertations, I have all the documentation, yes, qualification. Umeingia hivi kwa inaitwa nini ya interview. Unazo jina yako, And you answer all the questions well. All the questions well. But you know who's gonna take the day? Is a spiritual man. Not a believer. You can be a believer, but not spiritual. Hao ndio wanachukua. Kwa sababu, there are some qualifications. There are some interviews. Even if this person has qualified, something will just swing the pendulum of decision making. And you say, no, we just love something about you. I know you're not qualified, but we just love you. Would you come and consider our offer? And then kulikuwa na professor kwa hiyo line. Ako na kila kitu wewe hauna. It's because of spirituality. You have knowledge of that. And understanding. Yes. Now, Paul is saying, I could not talk to you as if I could not talk to you spiritual things, Majiguna. Because you were still babies in the spirit. You could not understand what I was saying. So, I brought milk. In other words, I taught you things that you wanted to hear. I could not go deeper because of the capacity. You did not have capacity to comprehend some things. Now, verse 3. Listen to this. I want verse 3. Take us verse 3, please. For you are still controlled by your sinful nature. You are jealous of one another. Yeah? You quarrel with each other. Is that not the proof that you are controlled by a sinful nature? In other words, that is the proof that you are not spiritual. Yes, that's the proof you are not spiritual. Aren't you living like people of this world? You and the world, you and the heathens are the same. Because a man that is separated unto God is a man that has decided to operate above the flesh and beyond the flesh. He does not, his life is a spirit-controlled life. You thought that only purity applies in the things of God? I heard a story of this, which a warlock, a sorcerer, for him to be more powerful, he could not sleep with any other woman except his wife. Hata pia shetani anajua hiyo. Alafu wewe, your zip is always open for any girl. I want to try, you want to test. There's this thing that, Pastor Grace, people say, Itajuaje, Pastor? How will I know that this is the right man for me? How will I know that he's able to perform? Anytime these issues are not discussed in the times of your courtship. That's why I'm telling you, courtship, be very open and sincere. Usifiche kitu. Tanisingie huko. So everything about your life is first supernatural or spiritual before it is carnal or natural. So the average believer will always fall victim of the manipulations of spiritual realms because of the ignorance of the spiritual. Many people have harvests in the spirit. Many people have rewards in the spirit. But they don't know the spiritual transaction to bring them into this physical realm. To convert them, they don't know. You have so much invested. We have what we call hanging blessings. But haujui kuziconvert zitulie. There is something about your life concerning this year. But you see, that reality is captured in the spirit. So it is already something that is going on in the spiritual realm. So in that spiritual year, how will I convert those realities into this natural realm? Azifanya namna gani? So many believers are still stuck in last year. They have not yet activated their new year. The year becomes new when you know and understand the technology of activating it. Just the same way I've asked you, what is the financial year of our nation? Ukasema, July. Amani, mulisema nini? Right? But I thought the year begins in January. But if you check, there is something that happened in July that activated that year. The government put in place that there is something they did. If the elections take place in July, the next elections will take place in July. I'm just using that as an example. Are we together? So, New Year is not January. The day you activate your spiritual year, that becomes your new year. becomes your new year. The year has nothing to offer you. Sonia, Hakuna, doesn't have anything to offer you. It is what you will do with it that will determine the blessedness that will flow or follow you. It doesn't come with anything. Are we together? Yeah. Good. The silence is so loud. Now listen to me. Please listen to this. Sometimes most of what we call spirit of delay, spiritual delay, or retrogression is actually lack of knowledge and understanding of what to do to activate the realities captured in your spiritual year. I repeat. What you call spiritual delay or spirit of delay or retrogression is a function of your ignorance into the spiritual matters that activate your spiritual year. So there is a principle that God observed, and we saw the patriarchs practicing it. And we never saw them having a better yesterday. Because God is progressive. Tell your neighbor, God is progressive. God is progressive. Now, this principle affects both sides. Both sides. Both in the dark side and inside the to your light. In effect. And this principle can be applied in so many cases. You can have a new year in your family, in your marriage, but still have 208 experience in your financial year. Are we together? Yes, I'm trying to go slow because I don't want to miss you. It is possible for you to have a new year in your career, yes. But if it comes to your marital destiny, you are still in 1988. Or you are still in 208 or 206. And yet you are in 2023. This is a mystery that is in the scriptures. This is a mystery. We need to do this business. Now the question is how do I activate my spiritual year? How do I activate it? How do I begin my spiritual year, in other words? What must I do in order to commence a spiritual cycle? 1 Samuel chapter 11, chapter 1, verse 1 to 3. 1 Samuel chapter 1. Let's look at 1 Samuel chapter 1. This is the ways of the elders. These are the ways of our patriarchs. These are the ways that God taught them. Because disaster is coming. But you see, we need to take cover under these principles or by our application to these principles or of these principles for us to secure the possibilities of the year. Si wadanganyi wapendwa. Kwa nini? Ushajiuliza swali. You have so much spiritual input and activities. But you have just a joker in that same office that enjoys promotion as if nothing. But you've stayed in this for a long time. What did these people do? Some. No, 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 1. Verse 1. Start from verse 1. Tusome. Ngoja. Mnasoma ni kama ama nimewakasirisha. Please, let's read with a lot of zeal. 1, 2, 3, go. Yes. Son of Tohu, son of Zuph, and of Ephraim. Verse 2. Elkanah had See, I'm free. You only Penina or Elkanah. Proceed. Penina had children, but Hannah did not have. Right? Proceed. Verse 3. Each year. Each year. What did this man do? He went to Shiloh to worship and sacrificed to the Lord of heaven's armies at the tabernacle. The priest of the Lord at that time were two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas. Now, this is a technology that an average believer has not yet understood. Because in the spiritual realm, anytime you're in the face of battle, I will show you. It is not the amount of cries and shouts you made. It is the weight of your sacrifice. Have you ever you've heard me say this? Every year, me and my family, we have to lay something. Until people say, this pastor is so lucky. He's so lucky. Who you? I think he has another business he's doing. No. I'm simply activating my spiritual ear because that is the currency. Oh, naingianga tu. Mumelipo mabaruti. Ja, pa. Happy New Year. Then you step into it. And yet there is a Muslim somewhere. There is a Hindu somewhere that has laid something. Then you want to compete with him. How is he? Forget about it. Forget about it. Because you have to please the deity that you're worshiping. And the Bible, this was a revelation given to these people. In order for them to walk into certain dimensions that God had preserved for them. I know you have so much in the spirit. You have so much harvest. You have so much, my brother, my sister. You have so much that is supposed to be yours. But you know what? Every year, God has an agenda with you. Every year. And many of us don't understand the keys of entering and accessing that year. Now, this activations comes through giving the things that are due to God. The sacrifice I'm talking about here is a sacrifice of what we call fast food. Say fast food. Say, tell your neighbor, sacrifice of fast food. Pastor, no. What are you saying? Okay. Go with me to Leviticus 23. Verse 9. Leviticus 23, verse 9. Sonia, that's why I needed the record. You know, I needed the graph. Our financial department knows every beginning of the year, January, your ministry raises an altar of sacrifice. Every year. In fact, last year, we withdrew everything until the team were concerned. Say, man of God, how are we going to take care of our operations? I told them the Lord will take care of it. We emptied everything. We let it go. If there's a year, we have crazy financial revenue, was last year. Very crazy. This year, it will be more crazier. Yeah. We know the key. Uko kwa biashara, uko kwa umeajiriwa. This is the key. One of us here, last year, I remember, yes. Which month was it? I can't remember, but it was February or January. The Lord told her she brought a sacrifice. And you see, that is when everything was not working. At the job where she was working, there's a lot of issues with redundancy or what. By the time she was crossing over to this new year, God had already done a great miracle to her. Ile mwaka ingine walikuwa wanatreteniwa, wewe hii kazi yako, hii position yako unataka kuitoka kwa sababu ina kazi. Right now, she's a senior person in that. Let's have a amen up. All right, Leviticus chapter 3 from verse 9. And I'm going slowly. I don't want to rush. I want to take you slow. Now, let's read. Let's read from verse 9. 23. Leviticus 23 from verse 9. 23 from verse 9. The media team is doing a great job. The Lord said unto Moses, or the Lord said to Moses, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. Goja. When you do what? The land there is symbolic. Anytime you have entrance into something new seasons, dimensions, levels, years, he commanded you to do something. When you enter the land that I have given you, and you harvest its first crop, bring the priest a bundle of grain from the first cutting of your grain harvest. Why did he command them like that? He wanted them to step into certain realities that are captured in the spirit. You got a first job. That's a new land. It's a new level. What should you do? What should you do? What do you do? Unaongea kama nitawafunza. Yes. When we launched this ministry, this church, the first offering that we received, the first one, we gave it all of it. We know. No to people. We gave it to our Father in the Lord. Yes. When you look on us, when we were, yeah. Tulipeana. Lakini pastor mgeni anaona ni opportunity ya kununua mic na speaker. Hii sadaka. Tununue mic. I think we need wires, we need cables. He said, don't touch anything. Give it to the Lord. It's a new land he has given to us. It's a new experience. It's a new season, a new place. Give it to him. That's how you activate the blessings that are captured with those things. You don't just enter like this. If the people in the dark world know it, what about us? Wanajua. They know, they are aware. You show me a person that gave a sacrifice, the first sacrifice when he stepped in that office. Huyo mtu hawezi ngolewa hapo. Hawezi. Hiyo jaribu. Hawezi. Because there's a spiritual transaction. This person has laid a firm foundation and he has captured something. You need to raise something higher than that. Kumtoa hapo. Labda saa zingine utaweza. Praise the Lord. Praise be to Jesus. So, the first cutting of your grain harvest. Verse 11. Verse 11. Look at this. On the Sabbath day after Sabbath, the priest will lift it up before the Lord, so it may be accepted on your behalf. You don't take it to your friend. The pastor nimetoa sacrifice, nilipelekea mama yangu. Nonsense. Verse 12. Look at this. On that same day, you must sacrifice a 1-year-old lamb. With what? With what? With what? Pastor Grace. Now, let me use this analogy. You came to my house. I was eating. Nikabakisha chakula. Nikupatie. Utakula? Utakula? Why? Ni mabakshishi. Lakini Mungu wetu yeye ndiye amempatia. And you know what? God takes it. Some of you have wasted your life somewhere else. Now that you're coming without one leg, you're coming to him. Lord, I've come. Use me. Yeye ni mabakshishi. Ulivunjika ukifanya nini? Ukikatikia shetani. Tipasa tunani. You are coming, you are bringing your old self. 80 years. Now, Pastor, I want to give my life to Jesus. I want him to use me. Use mabakishishi. That's why we should serve the Lord in our days. These days, these youthful days are our days of strength. We need to serve God in them. Praise be to Jesus. unajua umepoteza wakati huko. Mungu ukikuja hata kukataa, lakini vile atakutumia ni tofauti. Kuna vitu mingi hawezi fanya na wewe. Hata fanya na wewe kwa sababu gani? Yes, your motives are true. You are coming to him. But even you cannot use anything that is old. It has to go through a series of repair. At least to some degree. Praise the Lord. This is what God told me to teach us. You know what, brethren? It works like fire. This has been what has been keeping me on the move. Sometimes, listen to me. Mama, sometimes you will experience challenges that you don't have even 1 minute to pray in tongues for God to intervene. How many your time, Joy? It is here, but you need to survive. You know what speaks for you? Part of what we do in this church, when we do that, we come into a covenant with God. Lord, we don't want to bury anyone this year. Amen yako ni weak na unajua very well pale umetoka, vile jamaa umetoka, vile unahandwa na unataimiwa. If you believe God, shout aloud, amen. Come on. Yes. Hey. We might not have that privilege, that luxury of time to control things. Now, this one, I'll go and fast and pray. Your daughter is dying. What will you do? Now, that is when the sacrifice voices your concern. There are things you cannot have the verbal capacity to address them. You don't have the time. But you see, your sacrifice, Diana, will voice your concerns. I heard of a story of this president, Netanyahu, prime minister, for Israel. And his colleagues, his fellow presidents, made a statement, which I heard a friend of mine tell me. Alisema, it is hard to bring this man down because he's a man of sacrifices. Hey, Alisema, yes. And if you check, he's the only prime minister that has been prime minister for the longest time. And alichujwa na baada karudi. Pastor, I'm believing God for promotion this year. Mtu na compete na yeye. Amejua. He has spent himself. He has given his word. Unakuja hapo na in Jesus name.